You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
I've done a few episodes where I've talked about the amazing stuff I dig up at the swap meet. And I've had some amazing, stuff you go, what's this doing at the swap meet? But nothing is ever compared to the treasure trove of theme park related stuff that I found one time. And it took weeks to find it, to actually get it all. I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks in total, which at the swap meet, the rule is if you see something at the swap meet that you want, you have to buy it right then. Because if you go one aisle over and then try to double back to buy it, odds are it's gone and somebody else bought it. But this was a strange case where there was something that I picked up, and I didn't realize until I got home, actually what it was. And then I thought, gosh, if there's more of it, I've got to go buy more. So the next week I went, and the guy told me it was on the truck, and he wouldn't give it to me. Then the next week it rained, and then the next week I bought whatever he had. And then the week after that, or the week after that, they, these guys at the swap meet sometimes will sell entire truckloads to somebody else. So on the last week, it was a completely different guy, and I just decided I'm through messing around. I bought it all, and it ended up being hundreds of dollars, which for a guy like me, I don't have a lot of money, but this was one of those things where you have one shot to buy it before it vanishes, before it might end up in the trash, and. As much as I would jump in the dumpster to get it for free, I don't know where he's going to throw it away, so I'm just going to buy it. So I bought all this stuff, and one of the folders in it was cryptically labeled Project X, which, Project X, oh, that's exciting. I'm going to take a look at that. And it turned out to be the preliminary proposal for Islands of Adventure, the second park that opened at Universal Studios Florida. It opened in 1999. This was early 90s, really early 90s. And what's interesting about it is 99% of the stuff in the Project X folder never made it to the theme park. So I didn't know what to do with all this stuff. I ended up selling a lot of it on eBay, made all my money back, and then some. And then I was a fan of, this is going to sound crazy. You remember in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they go on a website called Movie Poop Shoot. That's where they find out that they're making the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. Well, for a while after that movie, the Movie Poop Shoot website was a reality, and these guys all ran it. And one of the contributors to it was an incredibly talented comics writer and comics historian named Scott Tipton. So I emailed Scott and I said, hey, Scott at that point was running his own website. He had spun off into his own website, which I think he had before Movie Poop Shoot. Movie Poop Shoot is now defunct. But he had a website called Comics 101, and he would publish articles and such. And I approached him and I said, hey, I've got this thing, and I explained what it was. Do you think people would want to read about this? And he was like, oh my God, yes. And then I took a risk, and I said, would you let me write the articles? I've got the material. I'm not willing to let it go anywhere right now. What if I write the articles? And Mr. Tipton was very, very nice and said, yeah, of course, write them. I don't know if you can write, but write them. And I was like, yeah, I can write. But write them, and we'll put them up on the website. So I ended up writing a whole bunch of these articles, and they dealt mainly with one island. Because remember, if you know Islands of Adventure, and I've never been, it's made up of islands. They have a Dr. Seuss Island and a Marvel Comics Island, and all these other islands, and Harry Potter Island, and then you go on an adventure through these islands. Well, when they were proposing the park, what could be on the islands was up in the air. It could be anything. So these guys at a company that was hired by Universal to come up with a theme park idea, these guys came up with this amazing theme park, all centered around Batman. And it was going to be arguably, Six Flags has a Gotham City backlot, and I'm doing it in quotes, you can't see it. But they're terrible. They're not, it's a roller coaster with a little bit of theming. This is nothing like that. This is a fully immersive, you are going to Gotham City, and everything that you've ever wanted to do regarding Batman is in this island, this massive island, which when I finish all this stuff, you're going to wonder how it all fits. And I had the same question. I think that they were proposing so much so that when it all got cut down, they could feasibly have a massively packed attraction park, right? But some of the stuff is just, it breaks your heart that you're never going to get to ride these things or experience these things or walk through these things. But I wrote a bunch of articles for Comics 101. Currently, those articles are now on blastoffcomics.com. So if you go to blastoffcomics.com and search, Batman, Jeff Tucker, the articles are entitled "No Batman is an Island" with the bat in parentheses. I'm so clever, I know. How's it working out for you? What, being clever? Oh, thanks. Thanks, Mr. Durden. So I'm going to read these articles because I think they're fun. I had a great time writing them. And it's just basically, we're going to walk through a theme park attraction, a theme park island that never made it off the drawing boards. And we're all going to weep at the end because we never got to experience the Islands of Adventure, Batman, Gotham City Island. It's May 1999. Grasping your ticket in hand, you strain to see through the crowd. The air is electric. It's opening day at a theme park, a brand new, pristine park untouched by the masses. You're one of the lucky few to get a peek inside at a whole world of state-of-the-art attractions, and you just can't wait. Welcome to Universal Studio Florida's Islands of Adventure. At last, the gates open, and you rush inside to see Seuss Landing, where the imagination of the beloved author has been painstakingly brought to life, with nary a straight edge in sight. Beyond that is the Lost Continent, with dueling dragons, one of the most exciting roller coasters in the world. The queue alone is worth hours of exploration. Around the corner is Jurassic Park, and with its faux visitor center and rapids ride, you truly feel as if you stepped right into the movie. Moving on, you enter the fanciful Toon Lagoon, home to Popeye, Dudley Do-Right, and countless other iconic cartoon characters. Finally, you round the bend and gaze in awe at the majestic sight before you. It looks as if the characters from your favorite comics have jumped right out of the panels. You crane your head at the rides zooming above and at the many shops and attractions. You hold your breath as you come face to face with the most popular resident of this island, Batman. Wait, Batman? Yes, Batman. But Islands of Adventure is home to Marvel Superhero Island, not Gotham City. Islands of Adventure is where you'll find Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, and all the other Marvel characters. Batman would be completely out of place. Wouldn't he? Yes, he would. But to find out what the heck I'm talking about, you'll have to travel back in time with me to 1992, when Islands of Adventure, or Project X, as it was called back then, was taking shape. Back then, the people who sat around and dreamed up the rides, shows, and shops were given free rein to come up with whatever they wanted. Any idea was explored, no matter how crazy. And believe me when I tell you that in later columns we'll explore just how crazy some of those ideas were. I'll give you a hint. They involve messing with your very brain. In the theme park business, they call this stuff blue sky. Blue sky stuff. Meaning, you're free to let your imagination soar to the sky and beyond. Put it all down on paper. Throw nothing away. Keep everything, no matter how small or insignificant. So, when these designers were tasked with coming up with ideas for a comic book-based land at Project X, they turned to pop culture, and guess what they found? Batman. DC movies were the dominant force, and no force was greater than The Dark Knight. In 1992, the only Marvel properties to even come close to the big screen were Roger Corman's Fantastic Four and Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher. Not exactly theme park material. But there on the big screen, old Batsy was heating up the box office in Batman Returns. He had a stable of colorful villains, a look that could be duplicated, even if that look wasn't quite as friendly as most theme parks are. And most important, just about everyone knew who Batman was. If you had shown a picture of Wolverine to people back in 1992, only us diehard comic fans would have known him. But Batman and the Bat Signal were already a 3-year-old part of our pop culture fabric. There were toys, Happy Meals, and pajamas, even shoelaces and bubble bath. In short, Batman was chosen as the most viable property to build a theme park property around. They came up with dozens of ideas for the world's greatest detective. Full-scale dark rides, not just mildly themed coasters like they have at most Six Flags parks. They were shows, again, not just half-baked stunt shows like at Six Flags where some lame director yells "cut" between takes and then sets up the next sequence. There were also themed shops. These ideas were real cutting-edge stuff that still hold up today. Exciting ideas for theme park attractions that will make your head spin with their promises. Interested? Want to know more? Well, come on! Gotham City is just past that churro cart, and I can already see the Bat Jets zooming by overhead on their way to battle the Joker. There are so many things to see, it will take all day. Right in front of the entrance, you'll find small statues of some of Batman's greatest foes, the Riddler, the Penguin, and the Clown Prince of Crime himself, the Joker. But these small idols pale in comparison to the imposing Batman statue that stands guard over the entrance to Gotham City. He towers over everything, at least 5 stories tall, with his flowing cape stretching out at least the same distance horizontally. You can cross under him into the first attraction, the Batcar Interactive Dark Ride. The Batmobile is called the Batcar in this proposal. I guess with all of their exhaustive research, the designers never ran across the proper name for Batman's car. It looks as though the Batcars zoom around the perimeter of Gotham City, and even through Axis Chemicals, the factory that was featured so prominently in the 1989 Tim Burton film. On the bottom, you can even see the large pipes pumping out industrial waste that turned Jack Napier into the Joker in that same film. But we'll resist the urge to board the ride immediately, and instead we'll turn to the left and enter Gotham through one of the back alleys, where a lamppost shines a circle of light onto the dark street. Perhaps this is meant to be a recreation of the scene where Bruce Wayne drops a rose on the street to mark the place where his parents were killed and where Batman was born. Not exactly the kind of feel-good experience you normally find in a theme park. Maybe it was suggestions like this that derailed the entire process. Moving on, we see those Bat Jets zooming around on tracks that circle the entire area. At the far end of the land is City Hall, where you can queue up to take your own flight and help Batman fight the forces of evil. City Hall is a large building, so you just know the ride will be more than a simple roller coaster trip. There are many dark elements that heighten the experience and really put you in the action. There are parked cars in front of City Hall to make it look like a real functioning building. In fact, the entire area is made to look as real as possible, with walls and facades to complete the illusion. There's none of that theme park nonsense of a working movie set that swept the parks in the mid-90s. There are no plain brown sound stages or items to make it look like you're visiting the set of a Batman movie. This place is meant to be the real deal with a total immersive experience. Square in the middle of the land is a large building that sort of resembles the museum from the 1989 film, but is more than likely the Gotham Opera House, which is home to a multi-sensory show that stars Batman and Robin fighting the Joker, with a little help from the Man of Steel himself. We'll get into that show in a future column. It's a doozy that was fully fleshed out before the plug was pulled. Trust me, it's stellar. There are shops all around, and even a restaurant or two, and high above it all shines the comforting bat signal, proof positive that no matter how dire the situation, the Caped Crusader is on his way to save the day. Look, I have no idea how they hope to create a fully functioning bat symbol in the sky, but in the drawing, there's lines around it, so they may have been experimenting with projecting it onto smoke, like Disney does onto the water in Fantasmic. Interested? Like a Starship Trooper, do you want to know more? Well, come back next time when we'll stop staring slack-jawed and actually enter some of the buildings here in Gotham City. But since it's so close, let's wander over to the Penguin Pops cart and grab a drink and a popsicle to tide us over. These are actual suggestions for the project. Welcome back to No Batman is an Island, Part 2. In my last column, I let you in on the secret plans for Universal Studios Florida's Islands of Adventure theme park that originally included DC Comics characters instead of the Marvel characters that ultimately took up residence on their own island. When we last left off, we had taken a full tour of the proposed Gotham City Island, but we had yet to venture inside any of the tantalizing attractions. There are so many things around that it's hard to pick just one, but since my stomach is rumbling, let's scope out some of the restaurants here in Batman's hometown. There's the blandly named Gotham Cafe, which is a mid-priced outdoor cafe. From the notes, you can tell they're going to need a better name than that. Across the way is the Mr. Freeze Ice Creamery. It's a push cart that features sundaes, ice cream cones, and more. The notes for this one indicate that Mr. Freeze is not well known enough to warrant his own outdoor vending cart, and they may want to combine his cart with the more popular Penguin character. Remember, this is 1992. The world wouldn't be introduced to Mr. Freeze on the big screen until 1997's horrendous Batman and Robin. After that cinematic outing, he may deserve to run his own ice cream cart. There's also that Penguin Pops cart made in the shape of a large penguin lying on its stomach. There are two large floppy orange feet on the back that slap the ground as the cart moves along, creating a whimsical penguin gait. The worker turns a crank that emits a penguin shriek that beckons guests to purchase drinks that dispense from the penguin's beak. Other carts located around the city are in the shape of the penguin's duck car from Batman Returns. There's a larger food destination located on the outside edge of Gotham City called the Metro. It's a Hard Rock Cafe type restaurant club that can stand alone as an outside restaurant for people not wanting to enter the park. It has an alternate name, the Krypton Club, indicating that Superman and his gang are slowly creeping into Gotham City. Eventually, this will morph into the Krypton Cafe, with a K, and become an homage to Superman's home planet, staged within a Krypton Green series of chambers. Back inside the park, you'll find Lois Lane's Metropolis Diner. They love that Metro name. This streamlined Art Deco eatery serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and features tabletops adorned with front pages from the Daily Planet that document Superman's adventures, both comic book and big screen. Similarly themed is the Daily Planet Press Club, which offers a chance to dine in the large cafeteria of the great metropolitan newspaper. Diners are treated to surprise visits from reporters and photographers for the newspaper who make lunch at the club a daily event. More interesting, food and theme-wise, is the nearby Smallville Soda Shop, which is a high school-themed cafeteria right out of Clark Kent's hometown. The notes say that this theme is out of character in the urban setting of Gotham City, but I think it may have been a shot at lightening the mood of the surroundings. The soda shop is a brick building adorned with striped awning and posters that proclaim Smallville, home of Superboy. Inside, you'll find the jukebox playing 50s tunes while you eat surrounded by Letterman sweaters, megaphones, and other pieces of high school memorabilia. There are tables to eat outside if you're so inclined, and everything is served in Superboy-themed dinnerware. If you're in the mood for something sweet after lunch, you can zip on over to the Kent's Candy Shop, where Ma and Pa Kent have a wide selection of candies and snacks for mid-park munching. Across the Esplanade is the large 20-something oriented The Batcave, which is described as a dance club like Disney's short-lived Videopolis. Guests enter Bruce Wayne's library conservatory, where they are greeted by the Wayne Manor staff. Cocktails are served while guests explore the large leather couches and high cathedral ceilings. Once a predetermined number of guests have entered the conservatory, the lights dim and the bat signal shines through the ceiling skylight. Large framed pictures slide away to reveal television showing the latest music videos as the music of the club grows louder. The Wayne Manor staff ushers the guests to a back wall where one of the staff activates a wall sconce lever that opens one of the bookcases to reveal a hidden sci-fi elevator. I'm not sure what a sci-fi elevator means, but in my dreams it's Wonka's Great Glass Elevator. The elevator uses special effects to simulate a descent far into the earth, though it actually only travels one story down into the club. The doors part and guests step into the Batcave, a faux cave filled with state-of-the-art Bat Lab technology and a full dance sound system. Large video walls dominate the room, and a waterfall cascades down from the darkness above into the grotto below. Fog rolls along the dance floor as guests find a rock-carved table and order from the large laboratory-themed bar that fills the center of the room. Lasers and plasma balls shine electric along the walls. Themed around the Batcave's many computer screens and lights, this club offers dancing and snacks. Do the Batusi, and you might just fall in Bat love. This one gets a bland maybe in the notes that I looked at. Perhaps they thought better after learning how long Videopolis lasted before it became just another theater at the happiest place on earth. They may have been concerned with capacity, considering the entire pre-show before actually entering the club, but you have to admit, it sounds pretty cool, if a little Joel Schumacher-ish. Finally, if you're looking for a real comic book experience, you can't beat these last restaurant proposals. They're the most exciting of the bunch, the kind of comic book theme park experience that would have really made Gotham City Island stand out. When I look over the entire proposal of food offerings, these are the ones that sound really exciting, and it's a shame they never made it off the drawing board. First up is the Joker's Diner, a fast food service restaurant done up in a fun-filled circus atmosphere interlaced with the Joker's perverse sense of humor. Menus pop out of menacing jack-in-the-boxes, and each food item is served in a Joker take-home container. If the place has waitresses dressed in green and purple chanting, "Love that Joker," I'll eat here every day. Joker burgers on the double. Next is Penguin Pizza, a dive located near the waterfront with pool tables and a menu that offers hot and delicious pizza. The waiters are dressed in tuxedos, and the Penguin himself makes appearances to dine with his most valued friends. He gives new meaning to the term table hopping as he moves about the parlor. While the Penguin Pizza connection is thin at best, you gotta love having the Penguin moving about the restaurant as the owner. You know, the last restaurant on the list is the best. Imagine as you walk around the park, you come upon an upscale sit-down restaurant done in a 1930s deco style. It's down the street and pulling you in. It's got that brown derby feeling of elegance and class. It's Lex Luthor's Villains Club. and it's simply the finest restaurant in town. Inside, there are deep booths and mysterious corners, and I hear the cake is excellent. The walls are adorned with caricatures of some of Gotham's finest, not celebrities, but villains. Yes, you're about to dine in Lex Luthor's tribute to the criminal elite of Gotham City. Here in the shadows is where the most vile villains in the world meet to sup and plan their next caper. As your reservation is checked and you're escorted to your table, you might find yourself dining right next to some of the most famous comic book nemesis. Is that the proper word? I'll have to consult Mystery Men. Nemesis? Anyways, the Joker, Catwoman, the Penguin, Brainiac, the Riddler, and Two-Face are just some of the characters that eat here on a daily basis. It's an experience you won't soon forget, where you'll dine on 4-star dishes as right next to you, the Clown Prince of Crime plots his next battle with the Caped Crusader. This proposal just makes me want to cry. I can't even begin to imagine how cool this would have been. The Marvel Mania Cafe was awesome, but this would have been a completely immersive experience with great food and live character action. And who knows, Batman himself might have made an appearance and had a little battle inside the restaurant. That's dinner and a show. Well, hope you found something you like on the menu. With all those choices, I don't blame you if you need a few more minutes to decide. We could always do a little shopping while you make up your mind. Come back next time when we'll open our wallets and take a shopping spree with the Dark Knight. Stop at the ATM might be a good idea, as the sheer number of stores is mind-bending. Hey, welcome back. Let's do some shopping. Are you ready? Let's do some shopping. Let's go. First up is the simply named Dark Knight Gifts, which offers the largest selection of Batman merchandise in the world. The store is a gloomy cathedral-like building with tall, rectangular windows and a heavy steel appearance. Think the original Burton film for inspiration. Inside, there's more of the same, with large stone carvings, metal beams, and large store fixtures that tower over and dominate the landscape. Some of the overhead lights are actually bat signals that cast the iconic symbol up onto the ceiling. Everywhere you look, you can see television monitors of every shape and size that play every incarnation of the Caped Crusader, from his early serial days to the Adam West television show and Keaton movie versions to the many animated versions. Themed floor displays made from used turbine engines and stainless steel sculptures draw your eyes to the multitude of Bat merchandise for sale, from character dolls and towels to costumes and comic books and everything in between. There's so much Batman merchandise on display, you'll think it's the summer of 1989 all over again. Every day. Across the street is what the proposal describes as a bizarre palace, with stone steps leading up to a black and gold trimmed entrance dominated by 2 large panther statues. This is Catwoman's lair, and inside is an eclectic mix of overstuffed couches, gold candelabras and chandeliers, velvet wall coverings, exotic plants, and fake fur rugs. Featuring a Las Vegas meets old Hollywood motif, this store sells costume jewelry, handbags, shoes, day planners, high-fashion hats, belts, and everything else for the woman of the 90s. I'm betting someone along the line would have suggested Gotham Lady perfume, which is perfect for impressing the boss, right? Right next door is the Joker's Magic and Novelty Company, which features a facade that twists and leans forward to create an optical illusion that will mesmerize guests and have them entranced to enter and peruse the many elaborate displays inside. Instead of bland, boring shelves, items for sale are displayed on giant jack-in-the-boxes, jacks, and other everyday objects in immense form. Here you'll find joy buzzers, thankfully not the kind that did in old Antoine, "It'll be a hot time in the old town tonight," Ratelli, exploding cigars, squirting flowers, whoopee cushions, Joker masks, and bang guns. But the Joker and Catwoman are not the only villains to get their own shops here in Gotham. Around the corner lies the Riddler's universe. Riddle me this. Not that you need any hint as to who runs this particular shop, The front of the building is adorned with a giant jack-in-the-box that plays ominous organ music and pops out a giant likeness of Edward Nygma every half hour. The store windows are all in the shape of question marks, and a large entrance door appears as if they are pages torn out of a joke book, with riddles and answers etched into the glass. Inside, the color-coded flooring squares are covered with riddles, while the ceiling tiles above have the answers on them. Look down for the puzzle, and up for the answer. Around the shop are giant prop souvenirs from the Riddler's past crimes, such as oversized puzzle pieces, posters of him attacking Batman and Robin, and even a display of his signature costume and question mark gun. Here you'll find puzzles, Rubik's Cubes, and brain teasers of all shapes and sizes. Some of the merchandise has even been wrapped in green paper, adorned with question marks as sort of a grab bag mystery hunt. On the front of the package, you'll find a riddle that will solve the mystery of what's inside. All sales are final, so make sure you've solved it correctly. To spur sales, there's a handful of valuable mystery prizes just waiting to be discovered. Located just off the docks by the Penguin's Pizza joint is the Supermarket of Sinister, Lex Luthor's Supervillain Store. Housed inside a LexCorp warehouse, the store uses sawhorses and crates to display items appealing to the dark side in all of us. Just below the wanted posters and barred windows, you'll find time bomb alarm clocks, sparking laser guns, breakaway handcuffs, Penguin trick umbrellas, Two-Face trademark coins, Sinestro's yellow power ring, glowing kryptonite rocks, and even the Ocean Master's power scepter. It's a makeshift store meant to look as if Lex could pick up and take off at the first sign of Batman. Hey, there's only time for one major stop, and what comic-themed amusement park would be complete without an actual comic book store? Just cast your eye down the boulevard. Check out the tall, curved, retro-design 1930s spaceship that sits gleaming in the sun. That's Brainiac's bookstore, and it might be the coolest comic shop you've ever seen. Rounded windows encircle a domed roof, an observation platform complete with telescopes masquerading as kryptonite laser guns that allow guests a full circle view of the entire park. You enter the shop via the rocket booster that has a ramp. Once inside, you'll find the entire store is themed to look like a spaceship. The main counter is the ship's control panel. Mechanical gizmos and astronomy equipment dazzle the eye. Light for the store is provided by the alien star system that hangs from the ceiling. Bizarre worlds rotate around an undiscovered sun. Metal racks that resemble spaceship railings display all the latest DC comics and magazines. There's also original art collectibles and limited edition prints for the high-end collector. Everything the discerning comic fan needs to feel right at home. Since that's right where we belong, let's take a break before we journey out into the park and finally try some of the rides. Did a Batwing just fly by the store? Hey, here's some bonuses stuff. The following list of these store ideas are just simply one-line blurbs with nowhere near the explanation that I was able to do for those other shops. There's something called the Bat Lab, a sharper image clone that sells high-end electronic gadgets. This one gets a big no in the notes. The Fiddler's Sing-Along, where you can record your own tape of a top 40 song. That's another big no. The Justice League Gallery, a DC Universe store with original art, collectibles, and other limited edition items for the serious collector. This one could have been possibly combined with another store. That the mighty pin on this, that all the notes, it's not nearly as cool as Brainiac's establishment. The Flash Messenger Service, a place to buy custom postcards and posters of guests as superheroes that can be mailed directly from the store itself. The Atom, a miniature store with dollhouse collectibles, matchbox vehicles, and hand-painted tin soldiers. Very doubtful, says the notes. Very odd, if you ask me. Paradise Island, custom-made jewelry and accessories for men and women. No, says the notes. Hawk World, a store devoted to flying that sells model airplanes, aviation books, and anything else related to flying. That's a big no. Mr. Miracle's Magic Shop, a place that sells magic. The notes indicate a big no, and also a plea to put an end to any more magic shops in the park. The Toy Master's Toy Store, your purveyor of unique toys from around the world. This makes it look like every DC villain, no matter how obscure, was going to get his own store. Swamp Things sells gifts from nature, fossils, nature books, world maps, and educational toys. Remember when they used to have Natural Wonders in the mall? I just love the title, Swamp Things. Swamp Things. That's brilliant. Okay, that ends the shopping portion of it. Next time we'll hit some rides.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Hey there, Timmy.
It's Bobby.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Were you ever a child?
No.
Well, then do we have the podcast for you.
Wow, gee willikers.
Here at Turning Back the Pages podcast, we strive for excellence in children and young adult literature. We read and give in-depth reviews and overviews so that you know what's going on in the book and you know what we think.
Bark, bark, bark. Shh, calm down, Brian.
Who names their dog Brian?
I do.
That's just lame.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
Turning Back the Pages podcast has been rated by top scientists.
Yes, I am top scientist, and I agree with this statement wholeheartedly. Now, where's my check?
So, Timmy,
It's Bob.
I don't care. You should check us out.
Oh boy, where can we find you?
You can find us at the Ace Podcast Network, along with several other really fabulous podcasts.
Like what?
Go and have a look for yourself. And remember, Timmy, keep turning those pages.
I'm trying, but the pages are hurting my hands.